Hello, welcome to Good Games Well Played, episode 172. I'm Clint, aka JCM. With this week is Miss At,
Hello.
and Izzy has an appointment, so will not be joining us. It's a short news week. I know we got games come in Opening Night Live coming on Tuesday, so I'm sure we'll probably see some stuff there. I'm not sure about new announcements. It'll probably be just more the usual trailers, maybe some release date trailers as well, but that's happening. So I'm sure there'll be more news next week. But as far as this week goes, immediately after recording, can't remember if it was that night or Monday in the AM, but Krafton, the publisher behind PUBG, and they have a bunch of other companies beneath them. They purchased Unknown Worlds, who does Subnautica and whatnot, and they have a couple of mobile developers as well. They acquired Tango Gameworks and the Hi-Fi Rush IP from Xbox. And then as part of that, around 50 to 100 of the staff members employed at Tango Gameworks will be working for under Krafton. But it's from the article, it sounds like at least 50 people will be going to their Japan subsidiary, but I'm not sure about the others. There's no list here. It's like unclear. It's like, okay, if you're got this staff that's going to the Japan spot, where are the other ones going? So I don't know if they have like a US based presence, but
Maybe remotely.
maybe. Yeah, and I'm curious if it'll be like what percentage of that team, because it's got to be tough too. Like you get let go, and it's like, okay, now you got to look for something else to do. I'm sure you got severance, obviously, from Microsoft, but and then who knows? Like some places severance is like based on your tenure, so it's like, okay, if you were there for a while, you probably get a good cut, but if you were there for only a little bit, and then it's like also, you would hope they recognize your time at Tango, not under Xbox, which is usually what they do. And they like the company that owns the company I work for, they recognize my time there as at the company I started at, not when they acquired us. So yeah, I'm curious like how many people had at least a decent package to keep them covered for a while. But it's like, yeah, how many of them were able to find new studios to work at, and then alternatively, it's like, okay, well, who are they taking over to the Japan studios? That's also a huge life move. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens.
I imagine the number is so small because maybe a lot of people have already moved on to other things or are working on personal projects and stuff. So they were like, I'm already working on this other thing, or I'm already contracted somewhere else right now, and then maybe they'll move back over. But I mean, just the fact that it's not completely dead and some people got their jobs back in some capacity is amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's kind of what it says here. Is like like maybe they just found jobs elsewhere, and that's why. So yeah, I mean, it was good to see. It was like we talk about so many layoffs, and it's like why not try to sell? So I'm curious, like how much they got it for. Like they probably paid more for the IP, not just Tango. It's like if you close it down to you, then it has no value. Like there should be no negotiating power by Microsoft with Krafton. We're like, hey, we want that studio and those people, and it's like, okay, then you just get them. But it's the IPs that you want, and those usually fall back underneath Microsoft's ownership. So it's like, okay, that's what you're paying for, and then you.
I wonder if they just bought the IP and then reached out and were like, hey, we own your IP now. Would you like it back and work for us with your studio kind of thing, rather than like, because if it was just totally shut down to begin with and people were already looking for jobs, there wasn't any like, there must have not been any kind of like back end thing like, hey, just hang on for a minute, we're working on something kind of thing.
Yeah.
So Krafton just like, it seems very like impulsive that they did this, which is awesome. It's surprising. It's great. But usually it's like, oh, we're working on a deal. We're not letting our employees go yet. Like we're going to try to be independent or anything like that. No, they just got like fully shut down and people were looking for jobs and all this other stuff. And then all of a sudden, just kidding. It's not closed down, but you do have to move to Japan. It's a very strange situation.
Yeah, that's gotta be tough.
What a roller coaster for those poor people.
Especially it's like, if you're a lot of employees, of that 50, it's like how many of them were always US based, and
Yeah.
then you're moving them to Japan. Like, okay, do they know Japanese? Because now if you hire more devs, you're going to look local as well. You're not going to just be like, oh, we only, it's so it's like,
Hmm.
are you looking for bilingual devs? Like, how's it going to work? Like, you don't want to, hire a bunch of folks. You're like, okay, yeah, we want to work at Tango, and then, you have language barriers in the office. Like, obviously, they must be looking at that. But I'm curious, like, if the people that went over were already bilingual or knew some Japanese, because you'd imagine most of that staff. Well, I'm curious. I don't know how many when Shinji moved over there. If it was like a Hideo situation where he took a bunch of old staff from Koji Pro went with
Hmm.
him there. So did that happen with a bunch of old Capcom folks went with him to start Tango outside of just like maybe producers and whatnot? So who knows how much of that staff already knew Japanese when they started the U.S. studio. But yeah, I mean, hey, we'll see what happens. Like, I've got hope they'll do fine. Like when they picked up Unknown Worlds, I was always concerned. Like we talked about months ago about concerns that Subnautica 2 would be like super multiplayer focused and yada yada. But then that was like a mistranslation, and they had to come out and say like, no, that's
Hmm.
not what's happening. It's still we just have a multiplayer, a co-op option. It's not going to change anything. It's not suddenly going to be always online, persistent, world Fortnite situation. Like, no, it's still Subnautica.
Hmm.
Just we have a co-op option. So we'll see what happens. See if we get a Hi-Fi Rush 2 quickly or something like that. But
I was just
or
gonna say
DLC.
that whole situation with Subnautica gives me a lot of hope that maybe they'll revive what they were trying to do with Hi-Fi Rush 2 or the sequel or anything like that.
I am concerned about there was a Glenn Schofield who did Dead Space 1. He went over to do Striking Distance Studio under Krafton, and he made the Callisto Protocol. He was on a podcast and he was talking about like the development troubles they had because of COVID and how like it was super impactful to the studio, and they like made him there was like extra content he wanted to do, some other boss fights and whatnot, and like just how kind of tough it was. And I wonder if that's just a situation where it's like not only the COVID situation and then everybody getting it and everybody getting sick, it's like you're getting pushed from higher ups to get this new IP out that has morphed over time because it was supposed to be a PUBG kind of related thing to then becoming its own thing. And because it's new IP, you kind of want to get it out quicker. So I'm wondering if it's like pressure there. And he kind of talked about how it was just not a great situation, probably from a leadership standpoint, not necessarily for the employees working on the actual game. It's like stuff that he has to distill down to the team. But it sounded like it wasn't necessarily a great experience. But it seems like a lot of that was mainly driven by the COVID situation. Like if COVID hadn't happened, a lot of the staff that did get sick and a lot of the production constraints you see from that wouldn't have been a factor, and maybe it would have been some of the stuff you wanted could have gotten there. So, but it was an interesting interview or
Mm.
conversation he had. But obviously, it's heavily one sided. Though I tend to, if the dev says it was like this, I take their word over a publisher. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, obviously, we'll wait until Subnautica 2 comes out, and we'll see how that does. Um, but yeah, and then alternatively, Ubisoft had some layoffs. They announced, I think it happened yesterday, but luckily it was only about 45 jobs. But what's interesting is it's across the Ubisoft San Francisco and the Cary, North Carolina locations. But Ubisoft San Francisco, they're the ones who are working on X Defiant, which has just been out. People like it. I haven't been keeping track of it after those first couple weeks. But I'm like, you just released an online game, a multiplayer focused game that needs content, and it just seems strange that you let some of that staff go. But yeah, that's just kind of strange. I know one of those teams worked on Assassin's Creed VR as well, but I guess maybe that didn't perform. I think that was a meta exclusive, wasn't it? Maybe it didn't perform as well. But yeah, a little
It
unfortunate.
just
Luckily,
seems like a recipe for disaster that somebody who isn't involved in the process whatsoever made that decision yet again.
yeah, which is just because they made other small layoffs last year randomly as well, at similar locations. But yeah, the Red Storm team, that the team that worked on X Defiant, and Rainbow Six. They've also worked on the Far Cry franchise as well. And then the Ubisoft San Francisco branch developed titles like Rocksmith and South Park: The Fractured But Whole. But like if they're working on X Defiant, like why would you? I don't know. It seems weird. Hopefully
Somebody was looking at a spreadsheet, and that's about it.
Yeah,
and made a decision from there.
But and then outside of that, the Cyberpunk side-scrolling shooter Replaced, which is a Xbox exclusive, also coming to PC, I believe, got delayed again this time to 2025. So they don't have an official date. They just announced that, hey, it's getting delayed. That's like one of the highly anticipated games on Xbox, which I was going to get it, but if it came out on PC, like it does look really interesting. But yeah, it got delayed again, so that's unfortunate there for folks who were excited for it. Hopefully that helps them, finish whatever they need to finish. And they didn't give that excuse we got for the Avowed, where it's like, oh, we delayed it to get out of the way of stuff that's nothing like our game. But to let you finish your backlog. But and the last bit of news is that MetaQuest got an update that lets you beam HDMI connected devices to it. Previously, in order to do that for like if you wanted to play like your Switch and stream to it, or any of your consoles or any other things, much in the way that like theater mode works on like PSVR 2 and other headsets, where you could just kind of have a virtual like 155-inch TV or theater in the display. There was a bunch of like third-party workarounds, but now there's like an official way to do it on the headset. You do need a little HDMI adapter. I think it's like $20, and you just plug the HDMI into that, and it'll beam it to your headset. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh man, another reason now I could get the MetaQuest." But yeah,
it's like they're personally vying for your money. Every time you make a decision or think about it, then the new thing comes out, and you're like, maybe I'll go this way.
Well, I'm waiting. I have like these. I have like $75 worth of Amazon gift cards that I'm just saving. I have the codes. I haven't put them on my account yet. I guess I should, because then I can just say don't use the gift card when I do checkout. But I'm like waiting for like, we have like a rewards program at work, and usually it's like if a big project finishes, they'll be like, oh, here's like 200 points, and it's like $1 a point essentially. So it's like you got $200 in a little bonus gift card, or you can spend it on the store however you want. I just get the Amazon gift cards because it's 1-to-1. So I'm like, oh hell yeah, I got like $300 with Amazon. Like that's like I bought a new exercise bike a while back. I think I when I got a bunch of my Elgato stuff last year, like my ring light, the green screen, and the Stream Deck Plus, when they had their sale, I had some gift cards as well. But I was like, I'm just gonna bank these, and then maybe by the time there's a sale during Black Friday, maybe we'll have finished some big projects at work, and I'll have enough in there to where it's like, I'm not only is it a sale, but I'm also getting it at discount because of all those extra, Amazon gift cards. But I also hate on Amazon how you can't, not to go on a tangent, but how you can't buy gift cards with gift card money. It's the dumbest thing. I'm like, that's like, oh, you can't exchange USD for another company's currency. Like, no, that's what you do. So why is it any different? Like I got the 50, I got the money. Now you let me spend it on another gift card. Because I was like, I had like a ways back, it's like I had a $50 Amazon gift card, again, through work. And I was like, I'm just going to get like a DoorDash gift card or whatever and get a couple nights worth of delivery or whatever. And then I did my checkout. I didn't even pay attention. And later I was like, that's weird. I was like, why do I still have money in my gift card balance? And I went to check out for like some other stuff later. And I was like, I went back in my history and it's like, oh, I just charged that to my card because, oh yeah, you can't buy gift cards with gift cards, which is so dumb. But especially because but you can buy, I believe, PlayStation Store credits, which I've done, because they don't have like on the company page for gift card redemption. It's like, Amazon, bunch of other crap, but there's no like Best Buy or anything. So I'm like, okay, I'll just get PlayStation, $50 card. That's not a quote unquote gift card according to Amazon. And then I just do it that way. I'm like, okay. But anyways, enough of that. How did I get there? Oh, MetaQuest. Okay. But yeah, we'll see. I'm hoping because I'd like to get it because then again the kid could use it. I would love to play No Man's Sky with it. I was like, okay, what are still like the top? And it's like the Valve Index, and then I think HTC Vive is still like the best ones.
Hmm.
But like, which never hear anything about HTC Vive ever. Like it's always Meta, sometimes the Index and Sony. And like I don't know why I don't hear anything about the HTC Vive, even though it's supposed to be like the best of the best, but it's like, way too expensive. Um, but yeah, I know that PC adapter came out for PSVR 2, but apparently it's like Digital Foundry was saying like they tried it out and like it's not that great, but I think it comes down to the fact that it's the Bluetooth controller connectivity issues because one of them Digital Foundry was saying like his controllers kept disconnecting
Hmm.
because that was something that when that was announced, I was like, oh, that could be a thing that gets me to get the PSVR 2 because then I can play all the native games on PlayStation that are exclusive and the stuff that they have, or if they have sales there, I can get them. And then alternatively, I can buy games on Steam and then just stream them. Sure, I don't get foveated rendering, but it all just works, and like that's all that really matters. All the little bells and whistles that I'm getting in the headsets, like I can just enjoy those with the console exclusive games. But it's like the adapter apparently isn't the best. And there's some issues, so maybe they'll iron those out. Because they had a PSVR 2 sale the other day too, where it was like uh, a pretty good discount. And I believe it was the bundle with the Call of the Mountain, and I was like, oh man, that's they're trying to get me there too. but but I still think I'm gonna go Meta just again so the kid could use it in his room because there's no wires. But
I wonder if, because I feel like the problem is Windows native Bluetooth support is notoriously awful. So I wonder if you could get like a better Bluetooth adapter or like a better Bluetooth card, and that would fix the problem. Because I know that I technically can use my AirPods on my Windows PC, but the connection is horrendous and the quality is really bad. It disconnects constantly and it echoes, and it's just like an awful experience. And Michael was having the same issue with his Bose earbuds. So he got a separate Bluetooth adapter and uses that, and it like fixed all the problem. So I wonder if you got the PlayStation adapter and then a different like Bluetooth connection instead of using the native Windows support, because God, it's just atrocious. If that would fix it. I don't know if Digital Foundry tried that.
yeah, I don't know why Bluetooth sucks ass on PC. Because like I'll do it where before I bought my InZone, sometimes I'd be like, okay, if I don't want to use uh my Still series, which has a USB dongle, so you get instant, you get no latency. But it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I don't use over the ear headphones. I'm gonna use my earbuds. Like, so it's like when I'm working out is when I do it. Um, it's like, yeah, there's always like a delay in what I'm seeing versus what I'm hearing. And I'm like, I don't get why there's such a delay, man. Like, why is
Mm-hmm.
my phone Bluetooth so much better? Like, what is it on the processing back end of PC that just makes it slow as fuck? It annoys me. But I mean, if I'm working out, it's fine because I'm just really listening. I'm not watching what they're doing. Um,
Right.
so it's not that bad. But yeah, that's when I got the Sony the InZones. I love these. I do kind of wish I could go back in time and get maybe like a Bose noise canceling headphones that can actually connect to my phone, because that is the downside. I didn't realize when I bought these ones, like because they use the Bluetooth low latency, it's like only Sony phones and like maybe another Android actually use that in their phones. Like, so I can't pair it with my iPhone. But
Oh,
anyways,
weird.
yeah. But I as a standalone, like I love using them for my PC. Like it's phenomenal. I've been ever since I got them. It's like I've only been using these. I haven't been using my over ear headphones at all. I've just been using these, and they're great. But but yeah, that's it for the news. I know reviews for Black Myth Wukong have come out. At least I saw IGN reviewed it, gave it an 8. I think that comes out next week on the
Mm-hmm.
20th, I believe.
Yep.
So yeah, this Tuesday release. Interesting. Yeah, so that'll be out. Curious to see how that does. And then of course, Concord comes out next week on the 23rd. I want to confirm Sony's been pushing about a bunch of character trailers for it ahead of time. Concord PS5. Just went to August 23rd. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm thinking I'm like because I kind of want to get back into streaming after what I did with just Baldur's Gate. The problem is like, okay, I can only do it essentially at night after the kids go to bed. So it's like, okay, I got like 2 hours I could stream if I was to stream.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, well, I could, like, if Isley and I replay It Takes Two to actually finish it, if fucking we could ever find time to play games together, I would stream that because that would be fun. And then I was like, okay, well, I thought about streaming Satisfactorio, like, because I've only put like 2 hours into that, so I kind of got like that basics down to where now I can skip the tutorial section where I don't start at tier 0. But I was like, if I got Concord, I was like, I wonder if I stream Concord. And then it's like, because there's probably not gonna be like, yeah, maybe they'll do the thing where they like pay like Shroud and some streamers to play it for a bit, but then they're just gonna bounce off and play something else, go back to Escape from Tarkov or, you know, the First Descendants or whatever they're playing. And I was like, I feel like it could be niche enough, but I'm also like, but do I really want to just stream a shooter? Like, I'm not the best at shooters, and I haven't played a shooter in a while. Like, I haven't played Apex in ages. There's been a bunch of seasons since then, like multiple new characters I haven't interacted with. But I was like, I guess I could just stream this, and maybe because it's so new, there wouldn't be any hard meta. I don't have to worry about people like, you should really use this gun, or I'll just turn on no backseating as a tag. But
that's not gonna stop people. I feel like that's just inviting people to come in like backseat and not have any idea what they're talking about because the game just fucking came out.
Yeah, and because I thought about streaming No Man's Sky, but it's like that's such a chill game that usually I'm watching something while I play it. And there's a streamer who I help beat Lights P. He's been playing Bloodborne, and I've been watching him play Bloodborne because he streams at night every time I play No Man's Sky. So I just watch him, give him tips. He beat it the other day. Funny, like I didn't think he'd actually finish it in time because he was at the beginning of Nightmare or the Nightmare Mensis. And I was like, oh, you still got that. You have Abritus, and he never found Darth Beast Parl. So I'm like, okay, you got 2 optional bosses. You got to get through all of Nightmare Mensis. Then you got, tell him how to get the last third umbilical cord. And then I'm like, you got 2 bosses you got to do back to back. I'm like, this is going to be like, probably, there's no way he's going to be able to beat it tonight. But yeah, the spiders at the start of the castle was what gave him the hardest time. And then, yeah, he got through it super quick. Like he had a great luck with the AI run for Mikolash. I was like, he got that done super quick. Didn't even accidentally cheese it. Just got him done real fast. Then he beat Mirger's Wet Nurse in like 2 goes, and then beat Abritus in like 2 tries. Of course, that's a pretty easy fight if you just fight at the back. But it was funny when he was fighting the one reborn. He just he didn't kill any of the Bell Maidens initially, and he just tanked it because he had a fast enough weapon that if you do get hit, you just recoup that damage by hitting the mob. That gave him some trouble, that boss fight. But Marta Lagarius gave him a lot of trouble as well. But anyways, but yeah. So now that he's done with that, I think someone voted to do Armored Core 6 next, and I'm probably not going to watch that just because I've watched enough of Northern Alliance. It's not really my kind of game to watch, and I can't provide any tips or tricks. But
you could just moral support. You're like, I don't know anything about this, but woo, robots.
Yeah, woo, robots. Yeah, maybe
is
just
this Metal Gear?
I'll keep it on, but I'll just have I'll mute the tab so it still gets the view count because I know if you mute the man, I Twitch, dude. Like I was watching someone, and okay, one streamers got to stop with the 30-second ads when you first go to their channel. Like that's so counterintuitive to me for new viewers to go to someone's channel and be like, oh, it's Twitch is recommending me someone that's playing. They're playing a game that I like Liza P, let's say. I'll go check them out real quick. And then it's like, oh, 30-second ad. I'm like, I'm not sticking through this. Like there's this other streamer I was watching, kind of helping him out through Liza P as well, where he doesn't do that. And he does do like a 2.5-minute ad roll like every hour. But they give like a heads up, like, hey, ad roll's coming, whatever. I'm like, okay. But the thing about those ad rolls is like, when they show up, it's like multiple 30-second, sometimes a 15-second ad, but like I'll turn the volume down, not all the way, but down like pretty low. But every time a new ad comes up, it resets the audio to max without the slider moving. So then I'm like, now it just gets really loud, and then I'm like, I gotta go back, adjust it, like wiggle the slider so it resets. I'm like, why are you doing this? It's so annoying. But and I do like that Twitch does that thing where if an ad is playing and you're not watching full screen, because typically I'd watch like theater mode, so I have the chat. It'll put a minimized version of the stream in the top right above chat, which is great. So I can still see what's happening, even though I can't watch the stream because the ad's playing. But if a hype train is going on, it supersedes the mini player. So it's like, okay, now I can't see anything.
So I thought it just like squished the chat down.
No, it didn't do anything. I was like, and the only thing I was like, it's this damn hype train. It's like it's just stuck there and it won't go away. And I can't see what's happening while he's doing stuff. But anyways, but yeah, I don't know. Well, I probably won't end up streaming. It's just like an idea, like, oh, that would be kind of fun. But I don't know. We'll see. I am looking forward to playing it though. So at least like, because I feel like it'd be fun to kind of get in something on the ground floor, and give it a shot. Like I did with X Defiant. Like X Defiant was really fun playing it from the jump. I mean, shit, I did the same thing with Apex when that launched. Like I played that day one straight for years, and then I mean, by the time I got into Fortnite, it was about a month after it first launched the Battle Royale, but that was still new, where no one was building back then. No one was ramp rushing. There was like building was there, but it wasn't. No one was doing it, which is so funny. Like I love going back and watching like those first victory Royale wins I had with my cousin, and it's just like I'd fucking destroy my past self in that game. like it's so bad. Like watching me, it's still fun because like I remember these matches, but like it's still about the gunfights. It's just like, man, you gotta like throw down a wall or a ramp or do something. Like, why are you juggling? Why do you have 2 ARs in your inventory? Why is your med pack over in that slot? And like, it's just like unoptimized. Just watching, I'm like, oof. It's like, man. But
just
anyway.
panic playing.
Yeah, well, he panic plays like crazy, which is funny. But anyway, but yeah, that's pretty much it for news. Like I said, Gamescom Open Night Live will be on Tuesday, so maybe we'll have some more news next week. I know Keely keeps saying like, oh, this will be this will be that. Again, it's a lot of stuff we already know about. Doesn't sound like anything new. I know Little Nightmares 3 is going to be there. Maybe they'll show like I don't know if that has a release date yet or not, but we'll see. All right, well, we can go ahead and move on from that to what we've been playing. I haven't been paying attention to Discord recently. Are you still doing? Because I know you finished Elden Ring. Are you still doing? I'm not sure how much of this extra stuff you completed in 14's expansion. You were leveling up another job though. The I forget the name.
Reaper.
There we go.
Well, yeah, I did. I finished Reaper and I was working on Dragoon to get the leveling gear out, but I haven't made a whole lot of progress just because like I'll just pop on and do like a couple roulettes a night, and I'm at the point now where that doesn't like automatically give me a level. I have to do a little bit more. I haven't done the 8-man raids yet, but I will probably do them maybe sometime this weekend because I was talking to a few of my friends who play. They have a free company and stuff, and I was talking to them while they were streaming one day, and they said that they're gonna do some run-throughs this weekend, so I might join them for that if they're playing while I'm free. But other than that, I honestly haven't really been doing much this week. I've just been watching a lot of streams this week. Usually when I get home from work, I just sit and watch a stream and like draw or farm or something. So I've basically just been playing like drop in, drop out stuff, doing roulettes on 14, playing Honkai Star Rail. I haven't started Zenless Zone Zero yet because I'm pretty sure I have to download that on PlayStation, because if I install it on my computer, I'm going to have like 3 free gigs of space. So I haven't done that yet. And then just like Fae farm and stupid shit on my Switch while I'm either watching a stream or sitting in bed or anything like that. I haven't really like found anything to really grasp me yet as far as like an actual thing to play through. I do want to get Fields of Mystria, but I was just unsure because like it's in early access and I didn't want another like Moonstone Island kind of situation where I play it in early access or when it just barely comes out and I burn myself out on it, and then they start releasing like new content updates and stuff like that, and I go back and play it for maybe like 30 minutes and then don't play it again kind of thing. But I don't know, it seems like a little more slow paced than that, more like farming focused kind of thing. So I might go on and play that. I did have there was another one that I was wanting to play. It's called Luma Island, and I was watching somebody, it's not out yet and it's not in early access, but it's like coming out soon, and I guess they gave a bunch of like variety streamers and wholesome game streamers and stuff like that, like early access codes to kind of play the first hour or so of it. So I was watching somebody play it and I was like, oh, this is really adorable, and this really seems like it's a Stardew kind of game where it's like, yeah, there's a cave you can go into and like mine, and like temples you can do that have like puzzles and stuff. It's very, very interesting, very cute. And then I went to the Steam page to wishlist it because it seemed like a very good thing that I could maybe, parsec into my computer and play in bed kind of game. And like one of the first screenshots or GIFs on their Steam page has like this horrific looking spider chasing down the little character. And I was like, oh man, shit.
Like, well,
so
never mind.
Disappointed in that. But it is like, it does have multiplayer support. So I was like, okay, well, maybe if I ever get to that point, I could just like rope somebody in to be like, hey, come into my game really quick and help me. But I don't know, maybe they'll add some kind of like, or there will be some kind of modding support, or I'll just never do the cave. I don't know. It was just one of those moments where I was like, this is perfect. It was made for me. It's a thing that I can just zone out and play, and it's very much that gameplay loop that I love, and farming and decorating and exploring and stuff. And then it was just like, hey, here's this horrific thing, and it just like jumps on the little character and starts mauling them. And I was like, oh, okay. So much for that. But at least like I do appreciate that it's on their Steam page, so I didn't like look forward to this game for months and then buy it and download it and then get a horrible surprise like 20 hours into the game and be like, oh, well, I guess I can't play this now. So I do appreciate that it's on their Steam page in some capacity. But yeah, I hope they have an arachnophobia mode or something.
It would be nice.
Let like a little bit of text chase me around or something. That's fine.
That's funny. It'd be great if like it was text, but it would. No, never mind. That wouldn't be good because it would still. I was gonna be like, if like it was just like for the legs, it was just text that said legs, 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 legs in the shape of the legs. I'm like, but then it's just a spider made out of words. I was like, it's still gonna look like a spider. And I'm like, can't do that. Never mind. Forget it. But
it's the problem I had with Minecraft, where it was like, I'll just change the texture so that it's not. And I'll like delete the eye texture so I don't see their horrible little eyes, and I'll just like block it out. But then now it's just like a spider shaped pink blob chasing after me, and I went, oh, this isn't better actually. I just want to delete the whole thing.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, I just been playing No Man's Sky, and going through that. Like the problem is when I play it when I was watching the guy play Bloodborne, it's like I wouldn't make necessarily too much progress, but like I just go around and I just fucking side quest myself into let's just go do this little thing and not do any of the MSQs. So, but I was finally like, okay, I gotta do something. And then I was like, why am I trying to? Because people are like, oh, get a pirate freighter, S-class. You gotta do this, and I'm like, I was like doing that for a bit, but I was like, why am I doing this? And I was like, why am I chasing down S-class ships, S-class freighters, S-class weapons, like? Why am I deleting the carrot on the stick for myself so early on? Like, I'm not that far in the game. It's like, let's just get out of the little bubble of the universe I'm in and try to go, do some other stuff. But it is a fun, just relaxing game just to play. It's easy to play with the kid on my lap while he watches YouTube videos and whatnot. So it's not too bad there. Unless like Sentinels get mad at me. I'm like, God damn it. I'm like, dig a hole.
Hang on, Daddy has to fight.
the dog chases me down the hole. I'm like, I hate this robot dog. Walkers, they're nothing. They derp the hell out. These robot dogs piss me off. But yeah, it's fun to play. I like that game. I did get the part where like I guess enough time had gone by where I didn't progress any of the main 3 quest lines. Whereas like I left a planet and then all of a sudden the Atlas like ship like just was right there in front of me when I warped into a new area, and I'm like, whoa, what the hell? And it's like, you got a signal. It's like, why you gotta jump scare me like that, man? And then I'm like, okay, let's go on the ship. And it's like, okay, talk to the red orb of God or whatever. And it's like, do you want to accept or refuse? And I'm like, what do I do? Like, I kind of Google it, but it's like kind of old things. Like, you can't accept again later. And yada, yada. I'm like, I guess I'll just accept and not worry about it. So I just accepted and then got out of there. So I'm like, okay, sure, I'll accept whatever this means. And then just keep going. But yeah, I definitely got to start to try and focus on doing just like the Artemis bits, maybe some of the Atlas stuff, and like actually do some of the main 3 quest lines. It's the settlement. I don't know if you played it when the settlements came out. It's like every settlement sucks ass, and like they're always in high sentinel areas. I'm like, why are you settled here, man? And then I hate how long it takes to like actually get buildings. Like, it's like the first time he's like, do you want to build a bar or a garden? I'm like, well, the garden will get me out of debt. So build the garden. Okay, it takes 8 hours, whatever. And then it's like, okay, it took forever for me to actually get to a point where I could build another thing. Not that they gave me necessarily great bonuses either way. It's like, oh, just more people. I'm like, okay. And it's like, and every place is haunted. Like, oh, no, they're haunted. So you get decreased productivity. I'm like, what the hell is going on, man? Where's the S tier settlement? Like, or let me build one. Like, I go out and just like make the buildings and be like, yo, here's a new planet, come settle the planet, whatever. Like, that'd be kind of fun. But I wish I could settle the disputes between the citizens from my freighter, not have to go to the planet. And I do like that you can warp to it from a space station, but you can't warp back, and I can't build anything in the zone. So I'm like, I can't build my own warp out of there, because they have some spots that are, pre-allocated for future buildings you can do. But I'm like, just let me put a teleporter in here. And then like I want to get the upgrade for the freighter, like the first freighter you get that they kind of like, tutorial you into. It's like, oh, you go through the black hole. Oh, there's a ship under attack. Save it. Oh, you can get the freighter for free. It's like, okay. So I got that freighter, and like, I want the upgrade where I can add the teleporter to the freighter. So if it's in the same system, I could teleport items to and from it. Like I had that with my ship, but the range is like 150 units, which is not huge at all. But I'm like, I want the freighter one. I was like, okay, well, to get the freighter upgrade, you need the freighter upgrade module pieces. Like, okay, how do I get those? And it's like, oh, you have to buy the maps for distress signals that are specific to crashed freighters and then loot them from the crashed freighter. And it's like, but it's randomized because there's also other distress signals. And it's like, you could cheese it by just saving on your ship, going out using it. If it's wrong, reload. Well, yeah, I'm like, I don't want to do the cheese. So I was whatever. But it's like, or you can sometimes find it on actual freighter ships in a planetary system in their cargo. And so just scan their cargo and you could just scan. So like, I'm like this in the closet pirate, because I like every time I find a group of freighters with cargo, I like slowly fly around all their shit, like checking. It's like, yo, what you got in that box? I'm like looking, I'm like, oh, there's some gold, there's some freighter fuel. I'm like, you got any of those modules? Like, I haven't found it yet, but like as soon as I find one, I'm gonna be like, I'm a pirate. And then I'm just gonna take that shit. But like, it hasn't happened yet. But like, and it's funny because then every time you float by one of their little freighter support units, they're always like hailing you, like, hey, you want to hire me? And I'm like, nah, I want to fucking steal from you, man, but you don't have the loot I want. So I think I just need to get further out. Like, I'm still like too, like, I'm curious how much of the game is like gives you better stuff the further away you get from your starting planet. Because I've seen like B tier weapons in the store, but obviously there's like, and I wonder if it's a percentage. Like, if you're in the starting system, in the starting systems you can warp to with your basic ship, it's like, okay, the percentage odds of B, A, and S tier are like, 25, 15, 3. But then the further away you get, it's like 75, 50, 25. Like, it increases that rarity percentage, which would make sense. from a game design perspective, but I don't know if that's confirmed. I'm also curious how much of the game is like, how much of a planet is randomized from the jump. Like, if I warp to a system that no one's been to, and it's like, oh, undiscovered planet. So I highlight the planet at the distance with my cursor, and then I scan it. Is it generating the attributes for that when I first got there? Is it generating when I scanned it? And then, alternatively, when I actually go to the planet, is the topography of the planet, obviously it's based on the attributes of it. If it's arid, if it's, whatever, it's like, okay, this is what it's going to be. If it's hostile, if it's barren. But it's like the actual layout of the planet, when does that get created? Like, when does the game like go like, okay, it's barren, so it'll be made up of these assets, which are tagged with the barren, tag or whatever. And then you go there and you fly in, and it's like, okay, is it generating? And then, like, I'm curious at how the generation works.
I think it's when you enter a system, because if it's like undiscovered, an undiscovered system, it must generate when you go in, because then you can just sit there and scan all of the planets and then decide which one you want to go down into, and then it generates. Yeah, it's like it has all of its attributes, but then the actual like foliage and stuff like that is generated when you go down onto the planet type of thing. But if it's a discovered planet, like somebody else has already discovered it and you warp to it,
done,
it's already
right
in the system or whatever.
Yeah, because I've had a lot where it's like it's undiscovered, whatever. Like the system isn't undiscovered, but like the planet, like no one's necessarily like I have system info, but I don't have any planets. So it's like scan it. It didn't say it was discovered by anybody. And there's a lot of times where like I'll see a planet and it's kind of like grayish from space, but then as I get down to it, it's like then it kind of changes as I get closer to be like, okay, it's not really gray. It's maybe, got a little more vibrancy to it or what have you. Usually it does feel like if I see a planet that's blue in the distance, it's going to be kind of verdant and have a lot of water and what have you. And the gray ones are kind of, when I scan them, it's like, yep, it's barren. That kind of makes sense that it's gray or, whatever. And I hate trying to look for sentinels. Like I wish there was like, I'm hoping at some point to get like better scanning upgrades. Cause I hate like, it's like, oh, have an objective, like kill some sentinels. I'm like, I want to farm the shards they drop so I can get some extra nanites or whatever. And it's like, okay, they're fucking a pain in the ass to find. But if I see like some gold plants, I'm like, I'm just gonna beeline it to those gold plants and loot them so the sentinels get mad at me. And they go like, yo, don't take the seed. And then I get in a fight and be like, okay, now I'm good. But
it must be so much easier because in vanilla, when I was doing that kind of stuff, it was so difficult to find like a sentinel planet, basically like a high alert, high danger planet, and it was so hard to piss off the sentinels in the vanilla version. Like you really had to sit on a specific planet and try like for hours to piss them off to the point where you could get the higher tier sentinels and just sit there and fight the little buzzy bug fucking float around you little shitheads forever to get them to attack you.
Okay. Yeah, I love the planets like low gravity. Those are always fun because then it makes that mod you can get where it's like, oh, your jetpack recharges as you fall. Like it barely does it on normal planets. It's like just enough to maybe like you can expend the fuel, and then right before you hit the ground, you have enough to kind of slow you down so you don't take too much impact damage. But like I love on the low grav ones, can like just spend it all, and you fall for so long, it basically just fills itself back up again.
You basically just fly. Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun to do. Yeah, it's just fun. I kind of want to do the thing where like I just go into space, I like point at a star, and then I just fly to it. I don't warp drive to it. I just fly towards it and see how long it takes me like to get from one system to the next. I know it's going to be like hours because anytime I see something, it's like, hey, the objective's over there. It's like, oh, if you just fly normally, it's like it's going to be a couple hours. I'm like, but I feel like that'd be fun, like kind of like Alana Pierce did for Starfield, where she flew like I think to Earth or she flew like to the sun from Earth or something like that, and like just had the ship fly straight, and then overnight and just kind of record it and like speed up the VOD And I was like, that's kind of fun. Like that'd be fun to do like maybe overnight, just like have it run but capture with OBS and just watch it and see like what it's like. Hopefully I don't get attacked by pirates or some shit. But yeah, I do like when it's like a dreadnought ship, you're like, oh, you gotta destroy the ship to save the civilians, and then I, take out all their stuff, go inside. I'm like, oh, you're C class, and then they're like, I'm like bribing, I'm like, give me your stuff, and they give it to me, and then I fly out, and then I just blow up the ship. I'm like,
oh my God.
I'm like, that's what you get. Well, because you still have the options. Like the objective isn't complete until you either A, take the ship, or B, take them out. Like they don't explicitly say it, but it's like, okay, I'll do that. It does say though, then look around for survivors. I'm like, I don't see anybody floating around in space. Like I don't know what you mean. But yeah, it's a fun chill game. But again with the Conquer coming out, I'm like, okay, now I'll be kind of juggling. And I do want to get back to like, there's other games I want to play. It's just because I don't have enough time to necessarily bounce around too much. I'm like, I kind of just want to play No Man's Sky because like I'd love to get back into Satisfactorio. I haven't touched One Steam and probably should just delete it so I could save some space. But and then still got Talos Principle 2, Thermaturge. I can go back to, and then my Dirge playthrough for Baldur's Gate and Act 3. Chip away at that because like there's so much to do in Act 3. But yeah, probably just been playing No Man's Sky because my cousin is playing on PS5 and sometimes we'll join the same game. I do think it's weird that like it shows you like if you go to the anomaly ship space station like and then you go to warp somewhere later, it shows you all these bases from other players. I'm like, I don't want to go to any of these. I know some people do them like, oh well, this base, like they name them things that have like important resources there or whatever. Then I had one show up like I didn't play with anybody and it's just like this one base that was on my list and I'm like, I don't know how it got there. But it had a name that I was like, okay, either A, this guy doesn't know that people can see the name of your base, or he was trolling a friend like it was the early 2000s, because the name was just Gary is Gay. And I was like, why is this on my game? And I was like, it doesn't have that. You can report it. Like you can report like offensive or whatever bases, but I'm like, I'm not gonna report it. It's just maybe Gary is. I don't know, but
it's just like okay, good for you, Gary. I don't.
But why is this here? Like I don't understand.
You want
me
to go and congratulate you, or
yeah. It's like I don't get it, man. Maybe there's an NPC that he helped pay for their wedding. I have no idea what's in the game. Like I don't know. But yeah, it was weird. I was like, where the hell did this come from, and why can I see it? So it's just. I don't get it. And it was there for like multiple sessions. Like my cousin's base, which I've actually been to, like went away the next session I went back in and then didn't come back again until we played multiplayer again. But this one was like there for multiple sessions. Like, I don't get it, man. And I did have 2 crashes on PC, which was kind of annoying. But I don't know what caused that. Because sometimes I'll like alt tab out. I hate games that, because typically if you play borderless windowed on PC, you can click out and the game still runs. And usually games have a setting like Diablo has it where if you click outside, the game runs at like 15 FPS to help save resources.
Yeah.
And usually I'll do like, don't do that. Or it'll be like no audio when you click out. A lot of games do that too. I'm like, no, keep the audio because I still want to hear, an alert for something. But No Man's Sky is like you click out and it's like it runs, but it's just still frame. Like if I'm teleporting to another system or I'm crafting and I'm waiting for like the 2 minutes to go by, like I can click out, it freezes. I still have the audio of what's going on, and then I click back and everything's done. So, except when you're on the anomaly ship with other players, then it's always active. I'm like, can I just please have it stay always active while I click out of the window? Like it makes watching stuff on my second monitor very obnoxious if I want to change it. Especially because the only easy way to get the cursor out of the borderless window is if I'm in a menu. Like if I'm just in the game and I move the mouse, dude's just bobbling his head. Yeah. I'm like, damn it. But yeah, that's annoying. I'm like, just play the game. There's like no option. I did find the FOV slider finally. I know I bitched about it last time. It wasn't where I thought it should be based on other games I played. It was like in a different spot. I'm like, okay, I found it. So I was able to adjust that a bit.
It's weird that of all the games that have that like borderless window resource saving option, No Man's Sky doesn't have like a customizable version. Like oh, limit the frame rate to this. Because 14 has a similar thing where if you click out of the game in borderless window mode, you can limit the frame rate to like 25 or something like that. But it's an option. And then you also have the option to turn off the music, but still keep all of the other noise effects and audio and stuff like that. So you can still hear like, so I have it set like that where it's like I can tap out of it and the BGM will go away and it'll limit the frame rate to save resources and stuff. But if I'm tapped out, I can still hear like effects and I can still hear when the duty finder pops and stuff like that. So it's like, it's weird that that game in particular wouldn't have customizable options for that, like customize the frame rate or turn it off or anything, I guess.
Yeah, like I could get it like if it was not released on PlayStation and PC at the same time. Like if it was the PlayStation exclusive, I can okay, you didn't have it to begin with because Windows wasn't your default SKU at the time that you're developing for. But it's like they released at the same time. It's like, yeah, why wouldn't you have those sliders? In 2016, maybe those weren't super common. People, maybe, I guess, I don't know. But like, yeah, a lot of recent games like have that. Like you're saying, a bunch of you clicked out options, and it's like, yeah, just give me some of that. But
I mean, even when it released, it's, I guess, understandable to an extent because the game was very bare bones when it initially came out. But just the fact that they haven't added it is a little bit weird. But they have, like, I guess it's because they have their own hard-coded options, it seems like. Like, if they're doing specific things, if you're on a station with other players, it's not going to limit it because it might cause issues. But if you're alone and crafting things, it's still running in the background, but you can't actually see that because it's playing at such a low frame rate. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it causes issues, so they do it on their own.
It is funny hearing like my cousin talk about stuff he has, issues he has on PlayStation, where it's like the LOD loading for PlayStation when he goes into a planet takes a lot longer than it does on PC. And I'm like, okay, well that makes sense because if it was designed like he does have a PS5 version of it, but it's like unless they super optimized it for that direct storage that they have, it's like okay, maybe you won't have it because the engine's kind of got to be built around that. You can't really. The framework is still PS4. But I have a thing on PC. I noticed like anytime I leave a planet, as I cross that atmosphere to space gap, like there's a clear line between the two, I do get a little bit of a hitch every time. But he doesn't have that on PlayStation. And I'm wondering, like, is that the downside to being able to load the detail for everything else in space quicker than you would on PS5? Like, maybe it's trying to load all the asteroid belt and the other planets and the freighters faster. And due to that, there's a resource imbalance and bottleneck. But on PlayStation, it's like, oh, we're just going to get out of the planet, then load all the space stuff. And it's like, okay, like maybe it's just he gets that benefit there. But yeah, it's like I always get that little hiccup, which is a bit, not too bad, but whatever. But yeah, it's a fun game. Definitely a game I'd love to play. Like if I can, like if my kid was like into space, I'd be like, yo, we should play No Man's Sky. little involved in the menus and whatnot, but maybe like when they're older, that could be a fun game. Like versus just everybody playing Minecraft. Like, oh, let's go explore space. That could be fun. But
I saw that Hello Games had retweeted a very cute picture of like a little kid playing No Man's Sky, but he had on like a little jetpack and like a little helmet kind of thing, like a little astronaut. Is very, very cute. So it's doable. They could get them into space.
Yeah, Ellie would have loved No Man's Sky. But yeah, I found like this planet where it had like a bunch of sodium plants like all next to each other, and it reminded me of the gold hands when you defeat a boss in Death Stranding. And I was like, I need to find another one of these and like photo them, take a picture, and then go into Death Stranding and take a picture of it as well. Put them side by side because they look similar. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing. Man, I changing topics before we wrap up. I went to the fair last weekend, and they have like photography and art contests you can kind of submit for and what have you. I'm like, man, why don't they have like virtual photography? Like when is like esports is going to be in the Olympics Soon it's like, why don't they do virtual photography at the local county fair? I was like, who do I talk to to be like, yo? Because I was trying to think, I'm like, okay, what would be the downsides of doing virtual photography? I'm like, well, I was like, with regular photography, you probably have to provide like, I'm curious what the proof is that you did it. Like that you took the photo. And like, okay, there's metadata in the photo most likely tied to your, DSLR or whatever you used. And I guess that could be it. Or you have to provide them with the file and they print it, or are you providing the print but putting it in a frame? Like, how do they vet? And I was like, okay, well, how could they vet a screenshot versus someone just, Googling, Death Stranding screenshots and like pulling one, submitting it, you know what I mean? And I was like, I don't know how unless you like screen captured yourself on your console or PC, getting in position to take the shot. I don't know how you would, because I went back and looked at some of my Death Stranding photos. Like, is there any way that I could show like this was clearly taken from my PC? Like as far as the properties of the image? And I was like, I can't really see anything. I can see like it has a name, it has a date created, but there's nothing. It does say owner and computer. And I was like, but I don't know if owner, like if I just took a screenshot of something else or like a snippet tool, like what does that say?
I mean, if it's anything like our local fair used to be, there's not really much opportunity to prove it. It's kind of like an honor-based system. I mean,
Yeah.
granted, we haven't obviously submitted anything to the fair in probably 10 or 15 years, so I don't know what it's like now or what kind of thing, but when I submitted photography, I submitted a film and a digital, and they didn't ask for the digital, they just have you submit prints.
Yeah.
So
weird,
I guess like when I submitted my photos, I had to, at least on the back of the photo, I guess just for like information purposes, you had to submit like your settings. So like what film did you use, what brand, what ISO, stuff like that in your camera settings. And then for the digital one, you just submitted basically the metadata, but you didn't give them the file to verify that. It was printed and then you just wrote down what the metadata was, like, and then what post-processing you did. So they could like put it with the picture and basically say like, oh, this is either straight out of camera or this is the post-processing that was done for it, kind of thing. So there was different levels of like digital photography. There was straight out of camera stuff, and then there was like minimal digital processing, and then like basically like digital composition kind of thing for like star trails and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it's like now, but it was basically like an honor system, which I'm very curious how they deal with AI stuff now for like digital photography and art and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's got to be like, I don't know.
I want to go to the fair now just to look at the art and see like if I can determine what they do to verify the submissions.
Yeah. There's got to be just like a panel of judges. But yeah, because I was trying to look, like I have looking at the data details for a screenshot Death Stranding I took with, I believe, NVIDIA's own screen capture overlay, and then a screenshot or picture I saved from a Death Stranding Steam competition, because I was like, oh, this is really cool. I want to share it with you guys. And on the one I took with the NVIDIA screenshot, it says, this file came from another computer and might be blocked to help protect this computer. I'm like, no, it didn't. It came from my computer. But the screenshot that I just or the image I saved, it doesn't say that in the general tab. I'm like, okay, whatever. But, and then, yeah, there's no, like, in the details, nothing says, like, oh, this is from the snippet tool, or you saved this from a website. Like, there's no, I can't see any of that. It just says it's a PNG, yada yada. So yeah, I guess there wouldn't, if there was controversy, like I'm sure if it was like a big thing, like a big company that like Baldur's Gate's like, oh, take a screenshot, or they had like a TLU 2 contest, it'd be like, as submission you have to show yourself, because I do like that when a bunch of like virtual photographers I follow on Instagram, where they'll show like the picture, and then sometimes they'll show like a sped up video of the process of them getting into position to take that picture. And sometimes like, damn, I wouldn't have thought A, that they were in this part of the game, and B, that they do it this way. Like it's kind of crazy. I love watching those. So I'm sure they'd probably want like something like that. Otherwise you get that Pink Floyd situation.
I wonder if they do accept like digital submission now so they can verify that kind of stuff. Because, I mean, if I remember correctly, there wasn't even really like any monetary or tangible prize for our local one or anything. So it didn't really matter. It was just like
Yeah,
you would go to the fair and be like, I don't know about that, but sure, whatever, who cares? Like, my thing is still on display. People can still see it. And I did get some kind of recognition for it. It was more just like getting into it and like having it up against, on display in the gallery and stuff like that. And there wasn't a whole lot of submission in our local fair anyway, because it's like a small county and nobody
yeah,
really cares. But um,
yeah. There's so many
yeah, I
different
wonder about that
categories too. It's
for,
like, yeah, not everybody's doing the same one.
yeah, there might be like one specific submission in one specific category because it's like that's the only person that does that specific thing. So,
Yeah,
but I wonder about bigger fairs if they do offer like monetary rewards and stuff like that, if they're more stringent about it.
I think this fair, the county fair, does. I think it's like gift certificates. I think is the award.
Huh.
Um, there might be monetary for some. I don't recall, but it's like small, like maybe 10, $20. But I think it's
Mm.
pretty much like I think it's just certificates, like oh to the planetarium or this place or whatever. Like usually
Mm-hmm.
like other attractions elsewhere, either locally or in San Francisco or something like that. But yeah, so it's not like why would you cheat or game the system just to win some tickets to go do something? But
Yeah, because we never won any like main prizes or anything like that, but we did get ribbons for a few of the things we submitted. One of Michael's paintings, and I think one of my film prints got like a ribbon or something like that. But that's what you get. You get like a ribbon that's like, here's the year that you won and the category that you won in and everything like that. I didn't get no money.
yeah, yeah, I'll have to. Yeah, because
Or
we
it may
used to have.
just be like, um, I know for something like Final Fantasy 14, like their Fan Fest thing that they do now, um, they don't do like a cosplay competition anymore. It's just like a cosplay runway. So it's like anybody who wants to be on it can go on it. And they still have like art contest and stuff like that. So they have like physical art, like sculpting and knitting and stuff like that. And then they have traditional art, paintings and drawings, and then they have like digital art, and then they also have screenshot like GPOs uh
Mhm.
thing, but it's not, you don't really get anything like monetary. You get the like in-game reward type of thing that they do, so you can choose. There's like a bunch of different exclusive in-game rewards that you can get for being a part of those things, and they'll the devs will choose like their favorite of each category or anything like that, but everything that gets submitted gets displayed at FanFest, like regardless. So it's not really a matter of like, I guess for like the digital stuff, it's more of like an honor system kind of thing, especially with the G pose. It's like, okay, well, just you have to use the in-game resources. You can't use any outside post-processing thing. So you just have to like honor system that basically when you submit it, because it's like if you take it into Photoshop and just tweak the values a little bit, that's on you, kind of thing. I imagine that's pretty similar for most
They do
digital
it.
game competitions and stuff like that.
Yeah, they do have monetary prize. I'm looking at it's like $25 to $50 depending on for like the photography ones. But they do have a category I'm looking at for their thing where they have a division. Well, like they have multiple divisions, like photography, monochrome, amateur, professional, two divisions.
Mm-hmm.
Photography, color, manipulated photos. It says this division is for extreme manipulation of a photograph. So I guess like maybe if you do multiple exposure, like that kind of manipulation, I suppose, or you do extra edits in like um, Adobe or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps like to adjust colors and whatnot. Um, and I'm like going through the categories, and in those classes, they have like landscape, macro, portraits, but they have one set in any other, and then they do have they have they have a category called photography other, and it has multiple different examples, saying it could be story sequence, canvas, panoramic, and it says mixed media. And I'm wondering if mixed media can fall under that division of photography, um, because they have like a one where it's like, oh, it could be mobile mobile phones, like photos manipulated, all done on mobile phone or a tablet. Photos that don't have what you see, what you get, no manipulation, panoramic, canvas, metal, or other mediums. But they do say mixed media, so I wonder if mixed media can count as that, because otherwise I think like, oh, what about the manipulated photos in any other, because I'm manipulating the camera in a game, like maybe that, like maybe I'll check next year. I'll find out. But yeah, I was going through the rules. There's no like, it's all just like meet the standards of, okay, it has to be this size on this frame with this border, blah blah blah. Photos must be within the last year. I don't know how you vet that. But yeah, there's no like, no, there's no other things on here that kind of show like you have to prove you did this, blah blah blah. But anyways, maybe I'll check next year. That'd be kind of fun, especially if it's like, if it's the only one. Because I tried looking around. I didn't look at 100% of the exhibition, but I'm curious if anybody else did. Because typically it's all still life, it's portraits, animals, whatnot. But
the photo manipulation usually, I mean, I guess it could be different for every county, but ours is usually like, oh, you composited two different pictures together to make this like surrealist kind of thing. So it's like that would count as extreme manipulation. Like you didn't take this specific picture, you took 4 different pictures and composited them together to like a lot of the popular ones were like people looking in mirrors, and the mirrors would reflect like something else, or
that used to be
like a fantasy landscape or something like that.
Angsty me back in the day used to love doing that, like me just in normal looking in the mirror, reaching out, but the reflections kind of like it was so easy to do. But I don't want to like multiple exposure, like if you actually develop the film and do kind of that way versus like a Photoshop or Lightroom manipulation to combine them.
Well, yeah, that's why they separate like film and digital, because you can do that.
They put them together, like it's all part of this. The photography is like 35 millimeter digital, etc. So I guess they like don't necessarily care. It could be whatever you want. But I'd imagine if you manipulated a digital one in Photoshop to do the combinations, like you're saying, or to Lightroom to adjust highs and lows or whatever.
I mean, again, it's been probably 10 or 15 years since we submitted, maybe even more since we submitted anything to a fair competition or anything like that. But yeah, it used to be separated by like, this is quote unquote traditional photography, film photography, and like self-developed photography, and then there was digital separated. So
yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll see you next year. I'll check. I'm sure they probably like ask you questions and whatnot before you do your submission. And I goes to be like, oh, I have to do them last year. It's like, I'll just go back in and just recreate the shot I took. It's like, or because how are they gonna know? But who knows?
That was also another like honor system kind of thing, especially with the film, because it's like you literally can't tell when I printed this.
Yeah, exactly. But all right, well, we can go ahead and wrap it up there, because I have trying to look through my notes and see if there's anything else that popped up as well. But news-wise, that might have happened that wasn't captured by other games media stuff. But yeah, it's hopefully we'll get some fun stuff at Gamescom. At least it's early in the week, so any interviews and stuff that happen after the fact, because that's always the thing too. Like, okay, you can get the announcement, but then usually it's like, all right, we've interviewed the dev for this thing, especially if it's something new or new information about something. You can get that after the fact. That'll be a nice early everything. I think it's early morning Tuesday too is when opening night kicks off, because obviously it's over in overseas. But all right, well, we can go ahead and wrap it up there. So thanks for tuning in and listening. Thank you, Sarah, for joining. And we'll see you all next time.
Bye.